I have a paranormal story for you guys. Nothing scary, but it's just my personal experience. This story is mainly about my grandmother. A bit of backstory. Born in late 1920s, northern Greece in a Vlach village. One of 7 sisters. Her village was occupied by the Germans during World War II, but basically destroyed during the Civil War by the communists. Saw horrific things, like dead Greek soldiers in the road with their privates cut off and put in their mouths. She was a schoolteacher, and would have to walk daily. On her way there she would see people begging for food, and on the way back she would see them dead. Side note, she could speak a lot of languages: Greek, Albanian, Vlach, Romanian, I think a bit of German and Polish too. Just basic backstory about what she went through and how tough of a person she was. By the time I was a kid, she was very old, in her late 80s. Health slowly deteriorating. I would listen to her stories she would tell, but in full honesty, I don't fully remember them because I was young. When I was in about 6th grade, she fell and broke her hip and that was it. After that she was completely bedridden. My aunt had to take care of her full time. Over the years, her sight and hearing deteriorated until she was close to deaf and blind. Went senile and suffered from dementia, and could not remember most people. She slowly lost her ability to speak, and she slipped into mixing all of the languages she knew into one incoherent language. However, sometimes she would still call out for her deceased family members in English and cry. She was essentially a shell of her former self. Couldn't see or hear, didn't know where she was and couldn't remember anyone, and was completely bedridden. Here's where the story starts. I think I was a freshman of high school at the time. Her sister, Sika, had just passed away. Like I said, she was senile at this point, so nobody told her and made an effort to ensure she didn't know. The evening of her sister's death, my aunt heard my grandmother screaming and crying from her room. She goes inside, and hears her saying Sika is dead. Sika is dead, repeatedly while crying. Like I said, nobody told her about this. She would have no way of knowing, at least not from anyone telling her. My cousin saw my aunt go into the room and heard my grandmother, and went in a few minutes later and heard her saying the same thing. He was amazed by this, and is the reason he believes in ghosts to this day. Fast forward to a few weeks ago. Grandmother passed away earlier in the year. She's in a better place than she was now. Both my cousin and I are out of school, so we are working construction for the summer. Interior demolition of a building. All the lights are out because we are cutting wires and stuff, so we turned off the power for everything except a few outlets. For lighting, we have lights strung up attached to extension cords. I'm a very religious Orthodox Christian. My cousin is baptized but never really got into the church. We sometimes have discussions on God and history and stuff during work, and this was one of those days. We get onto the subject of ghosts, and we start talking about the story I just posted. He says it's why he believes in ghosts. While we were talking about this story and talking about how crazy it is how she knew her sister is dead, it happened. The lights shut off, then went on, then shut off, then went on again. Did this a few times. We were basically paralyzed with shock of the timing of this. The lights go back to normal. Hispanic guys we were working with come to us from where they were working and asked if we saw the lights too. Wasn't just us, wasn't them fucking with us. The electricity isn't faulty in the building, as far as I know. I strongly believe that this was a sign of her letting us know she is safe in heaven and still watching over us.